Hello, girls. Welcome back. Hope you're all doing good. Okay, so very good morning. I welcome you all. Hope you're going to have a good, interesting class today. So, every morning we start the day with a good intention, right? Everyone wakes up in the morning thinking that today is going to be a wonderful day. So the power of intention of when the intention is good, it becomes even more strong. So girls, please make sure all your intentions are right, are positive. When you are clear on your intention, you take inspired action that's in alignment with your words and truth. You also quickly manifest what you desire because you're clearly putting out words and actions that are in alignment with the things you want to attract into your life. So, understand whatever your intentions are, if your intentions are good or bad, if you keep having that intention in your mind, it will happen one or the other day. So please make sure that you have a positive intention because intentions are very powerful. Make sure that you always start your day with a good intention. So let's start with today's day and a day with a powerful intention saying that I'm going to be a bright student, I'm going to learn, I'm going to grasp most of the thing what all my teachers are going to teach. All the teachers are dedicated for you, isn't it? So let's move on with the next slide, starting with our economics chapter 1, Indian economy on the eve of independence. So, eve of independence is nothing but during that period, during the period of independence. So, how Indian economy was during the period of independence. So, girls, let me just brush you up. I hope you all remember, recall. I would say, please recall what is an economy. I want you to just think. If you do not understand, please go back to my introduction video and have a look at it. Okay? I don't want anyone to, have the doubt what is ma'am talking about. I know you're all not familiar about this subject, economics, and don't be scared that what is this economics, how is it going to be. No, nothing doing that. It's a very interesting subject until and unless you put in your heart and soul into it. Everything will be understood if you really make an effort. If your intention is to learn, it is going to be easy. Okay, so now today we are going to learn um, during the period of independence, how was our economy? Our economy was it was a low level of economic development during the British rule. So when we didn't have the independence, it was it's very clear to say that it was under the rule of British. So during that particular time, they did not allow our economy to grow. So it was a low level economy. Why was India's economic development so stagnant during British rule? This is one of the thing that you're going to learn further in these slides. And also, we are going to focus on agricultural sector under the British rule. So, as you all know, agriculture sector is one of the major sector in India. Moving on to the next slide, we are going to understand now there are different types of economy, isn't it, girls? Just don't consider only India. There are so many countries. So, firstly, I want you all to understand the meaning of certain words, like, say, stagnant, vibrant, backward, developing. What are all this? So, you will come across all these words. So, I want you to be familiar with the meanings of this word, and I don't want you people to wonder what is this. And girls, please understand economics. It's a lovely subject. Please understand. When you understand, it is going to be easy for you to write your exams. Understand the surroundings where you live. Okay, so for now, let us focus on this stagnant economy. Stagnant economy is an economy without any growth for a long time. It is a standstill. It is neither moving ahead nor moving down. Next is vibrant economy. It is an opposite of stagnant economy. Vibrant economy is an economy where growth of the economy is high and also usage of modern technology is high for larger production. So here it's like a boom period. It just, rapidly there is production, manufacturing happening in this particular economy. Next, we'll move on to backward economy or developing economy. So, what is backward economy? It is an economy where people are mostly dependent on farming or agriculture. Next, developing economy is an economy where people are mostly dependent on industrial sector for source of livelihood. Developing economy is it's like they're slowly they're moving ahead, very say for example for slow range of growth. So it takes a very long time for this kind of economy to flourish. So that is an economy, developing economy. Moving on to the next slide, India's economy prior to colonial rule. Now you have understood what is stagnant economy or vibrant economy. You have, why I said you the previous slide, it was talking about the stagnant or vibrant. An economy, when you look at an economy, you should either decide whether the economy is stagnant economy or vibrant economy, developing economy or underdeveloped economy. So any of these. So how India was it a stagnant economy, a vibrant economy? Now we need to figure it out. We need to understand by looking into the further slides. Now coming to the period before the British emperors enter into our country. So, during this particular period, India had an independent economy before the advent of British rule. So, India was not dependent on any other country's ruler. No ruler from other country came to India saying that I am going to rule and people of India has to listen to me. Nothing like that. There were emperors, but emperors of our own country. Okay, so the major source of income was agriculture, as I previously said, and even today, the major source is agriculture. However, India was known for its handicraft industries in the cotton and silk textiles, metal and precious stones. Girls, India was flourishing with wonderful and abundant. It was abundant with raw materials, abundant with precious stones. There were a lot of gold available, there were a lot of precious metals available, and cottons were grown in abundant. Silk was, that is also again grown in abundant. So these were the uh, raw materials which was attracting other countries. So these products enjoyed worldwide reputation because of the fine quality of materials used and high standards of craftsmanship. So now coming to this craftsmanship, what does this mean? I want you to just recall if you would have gone to some ancient temples or churches where you would have seen the carvings, which is amazing. What is that? That is one of the unique craftsmanship of Indians during those days, where they used to dedicate so many years of days and years only for that particular outcome. They wanted to see the best outcome. So they were so creative, and they were dedicated. So that was, recognized worldwide. If they would see any carvings, they would say, is this from India? So that was the uniqueness of Indian products. Moving on to the next slide, we shall understand, looking at this picture, that how Indians were treated by these colonial rulers or emperors. Please have a look at this. How the laborers, the labor sector, were so ill treated and they were exploited by these British rulers. Moving on to the next slide, economic policies pursued during the colonial rule, mainly formulated to protect the interest of their home country rather than the growth and development of India. These British people, they were more concerned about the growth of their country. By coming to India, they were just exploiting, digging all the raw materials, all the available resources from our country, and packing and just sending it to their country. Over there, they were constructing their own emperorship. They were building their territories over there, sectors of industries. They were, trying to be the biggest manufacturers of the products that they're stealing from our country. So they were basically exploiters, I can say. So they just came with an intention, with the intention to grab all the available resources from our country. Such policies brought a fundamental change in the structure of the Indian economy, transforming the country into a supplier of raw materials and consumer of finished goods from Britain. This was a sad part of India, where India was just the supplier of raw materials. Where, imagine when you have in abundance, how well you could have used all those resources that was available to you. So Indians were not able to utilize that, but wherein these intruders, I call them intruders, the Britons, they came over here and grabbed all this, and they made that a finished product, and they started to supply to our own country. This was the beauty of British people, how they tried, exploited, stole all our things, and again sold the same thing to our country. Let us see, the next is agriculture sector. As we know, agriculture sector was a major sector. So now we shall see India's agriculture sector prior to the colonial rule, how it was before the colonial rule. India was quite rich country in terms of the variety and volume of crops produced. We had everything in abundance. So the number of, say, if you're growing paddy, there were variety of rice available. Now you would have heard only a few names, but those days there were varieties of food grains available, varieties of crops available, and people used to export all these crops to the neighboring countries. This is evident from the way a French traveler, Berner, okay, his name Berner, described the then Bengal of 17th century. So now there was a man, a French traveler. He came into India, and looking at the abundant resources available, like, scattered everywhere, he was amazed. He was fascinated. Look what he said. He says, the knowledge I have acquired of Bengal in 2 visits inclines me to believe that it is richer than Egypt. It exports in abundance cotton and silk. rice, sugar, etc. It produces amply for its own consumption. Ample amount, sorry, there's a typing error over there. It produces ample amount for its own consumption. It has immense herds of cattle, sheep, goats, fishes of every kind. It has in profusion. There were plenty varieties of fishes were um, breeded over here, and it was available. People eat fish, and Bengal is famous for fish eaters, isn't it? You get varieties of fishes. Moving on to the next slide, agricultural sector during the colonial rule. Now we saw before the colonial rule, and now we are going to see agriculture sector during the colonial rule. 85% of the Indian population was deriving its livelihood directly or indirectly from agriculture. However, despite being the occupation of a large number of population, the agriculture sector continued to deteriorate and experience continued stagnation. So, there was a large number of population. They had no other go just to continue with the agriculture sector. They had no other way to improve or earn their livelihood. Agriculture productivity became low and some growth was noted only due to the expansion of area under cultivation. So in case if there was a little expansion, that is all. They would cultivate a little more. That's it. There was nothing else other than growth or development. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Agricultural sector during the colonial rule. Sorry. What caused agriculture to deteriorate? Deteriorate means go down or have a loss. The stagnation of agriculture sector was caused mainly because of various systems. So what were the systems? They were the farmers were forced to do so many things. Like they had land settlement, and there were all these policies made for them, land settlement and revenue settlement. These settlements were introduced by the colonial government. So now we'll understand what do you mean by land settlement and revenue settlement. Look how the colonial emperors used to treat our farmers. So our farmers used to go home on a particular monthly basis. They had to go provide the emperors. They used to pay them money in terms of tax. Let us see. The zamindari system was one of the major issues in agriculture sector. It was implemented in the then Bengal presidency, comprising parts of India's present day eastern states. So again, it was in the Bengal presidency. During that particular time, it was introduced. The profits occurring out of the agriculture went straight to the zamindars and nothing to improve the condition of agriculture. So whatever the outcome you get, so you're growing this many bags of rice or paddy or ragi, whatever, and that how much ever you have and you sell and you gain money out of it, that money was supposed to be given to the zamindars, was supposed to straight to the zamindars and nothing to improve. There were not even a little money left with them to have for themselves to improve that agriculture. So the main interest of zamindars was only to collect rent regardless of economic condition of cultivators. So their only intention was to just collect rent. You're growing in the rule of our colonial government, so you'll have to pay this. Because of us, you're doing all this. So you'll have to pay us the monthly basis of rent. So they were compelled to pay a certain amount of money. There were so many farmers, it used to be so difficult for them to even continue their livelihood. They couldn't manage their living. Even for food, they used to struggle. So moving on to the next slide, the revenue. So the revenue settlement. So what did they do during this particular system? The revenue settlement system during the colonial rule was such that the dates of depositing a fixed amount of revenue by the zamindars was fixed, failing of which the zamindars were to lose their rights on their lands. So, whoever owns the land, if he does not pay a particular fixed amount of rent during that particular period, then his land is encroached, occupied by the colonial government. It could be one of the many reasons of the zamindars adopting a careless attitude towards the cultivators. So they were so careless. They did not bother about the cultivators. So what? You did not pay? Forget it. No land, no money. No money, no land. So this was their attitude, which became a tough time for all the agriculturists. Besides this, low level of technology, lack of irrigational facilities, and negligible use of fertilizers. All this became a criteria for underdevelopment or deterioration in agricultural sector of our country. Low level of technology, there were no technology that was implemented, wherein neighboring countries used to use different type of technologies, but India used to use the same the ancient method of technology. Lack of irrigational facilities. They did not have any facilities of supplying water to the crops that they're growing. It used to be a big task for them. And then negligible use of fertilizers. So fertilizers, they didn't know what fertilizers to put during what particular period, how much of crops are needed for fertilize for to be fertilized. All this, they were ignorant. They did not have any idea how it has to go on. So all this above added up to worsen the condition of the then farmers, means those days farmers, and contributed towards the reduced level of agricultural productivity. Moving on to the next slide, commercialization. So this came up. What is commercialization? Commercialization is something like more of exposure. What exposure? Whatever they produced, they were a platform to sell, and to there were more middlemen in between. So now let's see how this commercialization acted or helped during this particular sector system. Commercialization of agriculture led to higher yield of cash crops in certain parts of the country. Now, I want you all to give me a quick homework. After 12 o'clock, I want everyone to send me message on what cash crops are on WhatsApp. I want it on WhatsApp. Tell me what are cash crops and name two cash crops. Okay, on WhatsApp in the economic group. Okay, despite some progress made in irrigation, India's agriculture was starved of investment in terracing, flood control, drainage, and desalination of soil. So there were so many issues which farmers didn't know how to invest and whom to ask. They did not know. They were just running under loss, and nobody were there to help them. These colonial government was just behind the land, and the crops just grow. They made them like scapegoats. You need to just listen to what I say. That's it. So that was the state and fate of farmers then. A large section of Indian farmers neither had the resources and technology nor had incentive. They did not have have ample amount of money for their own family usage. They did not get a basic minimum remuneration for working that hard in the agricultural fields, and they did not even were aware of technologies, how to improve using what technology was also not known to them. Okay, girls, I hope you're all understanding. So far, whatever the concepts I've taught, I am just going to do a quick recap. So stay with me and let's see. India's economy prior to the colonial rule. So we studied about it, how it was, how the economy was before the British entered our country. Then what caused the low level of economic development during the British rule. India's economy prior to the colonial rule, how economy was, then in economic policies pursued during the colonial rule, what were the rules and regulation were insisted by the government on, were imposed on Indians, right? So what were they? You've understood. India's agricultural sector prior to the colonial rule. How it was agricultural sector? India was not dependent. It was free country. They were producing maximum amount of raw materials, isn't it? Then what caused agriculture to deteriorate? So you all know what caused for agriculture, Indian agriculture to deteriorate during the colonial government. It was the invasion of these British emperors into our country, isn't it, girls? Okay, so I hope you all understood. And before I wind up the class, I want you all to remember that the first page of economics classwork should have the syllabus that I have shared in the first class of introduction. If you do not have, go to YouTube or go to the group. Please click on the link of introduction, have a look at it. Please make a note of the syllabus or the contents of the chapters of the subject that I have mentioned. Make a note. Maintain two different books, one for economics and one for statistics, and please keep it ready. And for this also I'll be sharing the notes for this particular concept what I've taught today. So coming to attendance, as I have already told you, mentioned it to you very clearly, that the YouTube link has the comment box. Please go into that, type in your name, your section, and say you've attended, or just give me a present, your name. I want it with your name. Then I'm going to go into that, check out all the comments, and as I see the names with the section, as per that only I am going to give you the attendance. Girls, remember, this is going to be counted for your marks end of the day. Please remember, be honest. Remember the decorum of online class. Notes will be sent on group. Kindly keep it updated. Thank you so much, girls. I want you all to get prepared for the next class. Wishing you a great day. I will see you on Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday is our next class, right? Okay. See you then, and please have a check on the things and get back to me if you have any doubts. Thank you, girls.